Hello. I've set up this scene to help show the idea of attaching something to an already posed armature. This is useful in cases like if you were attaching clothes to a character that's already posed, which I have an example with over there that I'll be going over, as well as sometimes you just have something that you already applied the pose to and you want to be able to reattach it to the armature, such as here. Here, this is something that's already weight painted to the armature, which I'll go over how to get some weight painting if you don't have it. But I've applied the armature modifier to it. So now this rig is posed, but this no longer works well with it, because if I were to attach it now, it has this extra bend. So the question is, how do you go about doing that in a way that doesn't break it? So one idea is to essentially duplicate this, and now you have this armature. And now what you can do is you take this armature and you apply the pose as the rest pose. Now that pose is the rest pose, if I were to then take this one, move it over here, and attach it to this armature, now this armature bends and moves it. But how do I get it back to the rest pose? Well, that's where this other part comes in. So this is post armature 1, post armature. What I can do is if I properly line them back up, there's two methods that can be done, and I'll duplicate these to be able to show that. So let me grab the correct one and go to pose mode, and then what I can do is grab the corresponding bone. And what we need to do is attach some constraints to it so that it will follow the original armature. Here, my preferred one, because it's easier, is the copy transforms. Then you attach it to the original armature, and then the corresponding bone, which would be the one with the same name as the bone you have currently selected. Most of the other default stuff should work, and then you simply have to repeat this for the other bones, which is a tad annoying, which is why I later will be showing a script I've helped make to speed up this process. But in short, if you don't have that, this is more or less what you're going to do. So now this is constrained, and then if I go back to the original armature, which is hard to see because it's inside of it, but if I go to pose mode on it and Alt-R, you'll see that it has followed it because they were constrained. So now if I go back to this object, I can now go to it and apply this armature effect and then clear its parent so it is no longer attached to the extra armature. And now if I were to move this back to it and then reparent it to this one, you can see that it now moves with the original armature from the original armature's position. So it was originally posed, but now it works with the rest pose of the original armature, which is pretty good. Now, one of the other options, which is more useful in cases of if for some reason you needed an offset between the bones, you'll know if you have one of those cases, but I'm just going to go ahead and show it just in case. So here, I've got the duplicate one. What you have to do is go into edit mode and actually disconnect all of these bones, because if they're connected, this method won't work super well. And what you then do is essentially the same thing. You go through and you attach, but this time a child of constraint. So we're going to grab that one. I grabbed bone 002, so I'm going to do that. Set inverse, and that set inverse is what part of what makes it able to do it with offsets compared to the other one, because it's able to account for the other one's position. Though it looks weird when you originally go and do it, because it kind of flies off the wall. But now that I've done it, if I were to then go to the original one, which again, hard to see because it's inside of it, I go to its pose mode, select Alt-R. I think I applied one of them to the wrong one, or I didn't properly disconnect it. It might be that they're not all properly disconnected. So clear parent as well, just in case. Now let me go to the base armature, the original armature, pose, Alt-R, and there we go. This has rotated it back. This is important because it sets up stuff for if it had the offset or whatever, basically just one of the other two options. But as shown, the issue is this method requires that you have weight painting, which can be a problem. So this is an object that I've made that does not have weight painting, but it does have the armature set up. Now I'm going to go through and undo some stuff because I kind of deleted a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't have, which I can quickly do by just reverting this real quick. So this one has this original pose. So what I can then do is revert it back. But the issue here is, in order to do it for that one, because this one has no weight painting, but this is a posed armature, what I can do is I've gone through and already applied the pose of the bending onto this one. So you go through, you make a duplicate of the original one, apply the pose, and then what you can do is then attach it to whatever it is with automatic weights. Now that it's attached to it with automatic weights, this now has a form of weight painting to it. Now the issue is it's not going to be perfect, but it will work. So now what I need to do is the same process to do what I originally did, which is essentially take this, attach all the stuff to it and move it back, but I've got my script that I'm going to show off to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to save myself some time. So I'm going to go through, select it, select that. My script is actually a little add-on. I just clicked it there so I can activate it here. Go to parent, Armature deform with current pose, and now it is attached. But notice that it's got a slight little bend here that wasn't in the original one. That's because when you do the automatic weight painting, it's not perfect, but this will work. Another method, let me revert so I don't have any weird messed up changes, that can exist is if you had it on something. This character is normally A posed. I have made them a T posed and attached this clothing to them. I've gone ahead and to get the another weight painting idea, because the idea is this originally wouldn't have any weight painting, so I can go ahead and delete all of them. To get weight painting, you can essentially, if it's for something like character, you can go through, attach this to the rig, which the rig on this one is not perfect. I kind of just set this up. You can attach it, empty groups, and then take the character, then the clothing, go to weight paint mode, weights, transfer weights, and I normally do like nearest face, interpolated, by name. There's some other settings and stuff like that you can do, but as you can see, since it's attached to the armature, it's going to start bending it like that, which is, you know, not preferred, which is why if we then remove it, it'll go back to its original position. But again, if we ever try attaching it back to the armature, since the armature is posed, it will cause it to deform again. So instead, what we want to do is do the same premise of attaching it, but using the new method. Now, it looks really wacky here, but that's because the attaching of the I forgot to properly show something with a better piece of clothing, but in short, the reason why it looks awful here is the weight paint transfer didn't grab anything here because the body is so far away, but as it shows with the top, it stuck. So the premise is if you actually had a piece of clothing that wasn't as ugly and quickly set up as mine, and actually had proper weight painting on it, the premise would still apply. And that's the main thing, is this method works pretty well, as I was able to show with something like this one, where again this one is posed, it has an armature that is posed, but I can't properly just attach it because again it does that. Thus you use the setup and or the script, which is just a macro for the setup, and it'll work. So hopefully my awful display on the clothing one doesn't dissuade you too much if you have a similar thing. If you had much better weight painting, that would not be how it would turn out. But normally tighter fitting clothing on characters, the weight paint transfer works better. Otherwise, you might have to make weight painting yourself. But in short, you could have also manually lined up the rigs, but I don't like doing that for the step where they need to be aligned, which is why I showed the constraint method. So hopefully this gives you an idea, if you have a similar problem such as this, to solve whatever it is you have. And I had a lot of issues with this. The internet tried to tell me that this wasn't possible according to one Blender forum, but that's why I wanted to share what I had today in case someone else ran into the same issue. So have a good day and good luck.